Hello, my name's Andy Carr and this is my sketchbook stroke behind the scenes video for my short film production The Deadly Earth. My aim for The Deadly Earth was to build on my production and directorial skills developed during my last major project. I also attempted to pay more attention to character building, which is something I did not focus too heavily on in Dead Alive Girl, or likewise brought any real weight on my Abaya transformation sequence. Presenting this via the framework of folk horror, I took inspiration from examples such as Blood on Satan's Claw and The Witch, and closer to home the short films of Devonshire-based director Dean Puckett. And using the folk horror trope of something archaic that is unearthed and causes unrest or imbalance, I sought to combine it with an outwardly sci-fi element, inspired by the excavated spacecrafts in films such as The Thing and The Tommyknockers. This combination of past and future would hopefully add a uniqueness and originality to my film and set it apart from other folk horror examples. The number of actors I felt were necessary to give the impression of a living world, and therefore the costumes and possible locations and travel would mean more intricate organising and logistical planning than I'd ever put myself through. I set up a crowdfunder campaign to help pay for props, costumes and to reward my actors and encourage reliability and commitment. The money allowed me to hire 3 nights at my chosen location for the cottage scenes at Boyton Mill House near Launceston. The bedroom in this property was remarkably similar to what I'd imagined in my storyboards. Other parts of the cottage too fit perfectly with the aesthetic and layout I was looking for. However, if I'd constructed a studio set for the cottage, I would have benefited from more flexible shoot days and had better control over lighting and layout. For example, I had accounted for the entrance point to the bedroom being a door, but discovered it was actually an open plan design with the living area. Therefore, where we'd planned for shots towards the entrance point of the bedroom, we would have to re-angle or aim to use black sheets, lighting and camera aperture to hide the more modern trappings in the background. The solution we finally went for was to spin the bed round 90 degrees, which also had the benefit of bringing the windows away from the head of the bed, which allowed us better control over our lighting by placing a lamp in front of the third window further off in the room. Also, a set of steps leading up to the roof cavity from another part of the cottage could be shot and cut with the bedroom footage to make it appear like it was actually the bedroom's entrance point. We were also able to assess what mod cons would have to be avoided or covered up. The outer door from the tool room could act as Toby's front door, while the property's actual front door could stand in for Maz's. By chance, this door and the window close to it were all configured as in my storyboard, and because this was all on a different side of the property, I could legitimately make it seem like the two areas were located in different parts of my made-up village. To achieve the right kind of lighting for the bedroom, keen research into similar scenes in films such as The Witch and the TV show The Witcher to establish a single light source effect that would add a low-level atmosphere in keeping with the simplicity of the setting and the lives of the characters. My main prop was the alien structure found beneath the old mill in the last scene of the film, the pyramid-like design being easy to construct from wood and covered in lino for a metallic sheen. The mud around the base was my way of suggesting that the structure continued further below the ground, being an alien craft of some description that had at some point crash-landed on the Earth. By incorporating a combination of triangles with square holes, I could provide a visual link with the architecture of the signal station, which I also extended to the pyramid shape of my artefact. Not only would this help lend character to the look of my film, I intended it to further suggest the artefact belongs in the field and that its removal has upset the balance in Toby and Maz's lives. I aim to improve the complexity of the lighting style to give my final scene a more interesting and futuristic colour dynamic. We placed a 2000 watt ARRI lamp inside of my alien structure to provide the correct strength of light beam that could be blocked by the small artefact. To disguise both the lamp and the internal cavity, which was initially visible through the square hole of the structure, we figured that we could tape a diffuser gel to the inside of the hole. This was an example of a problem we faced and solved by trial and error, but in which the outcome proved more successful in the eerie glow that it created. In the style of folk horror films like Blood on Satan's Claw, I chose to use extreme low angles in the field to suggest the significance of landscape by offering a sort of land's eye view of the characters existing off of it. I felt that the ultra low shot I wanted from the imaginary basement in the mill would be too cumbersome to pull off at the actual location, so instead we constructed this setup in the studio with which to project a previously taken photograph of the mill's rafters above the characters and consisting of a camera positioned below a mock trapdoor between 2 tables. Louis worked on the score for me, with him constructing 2 very different styles of music to purposefully exaggerate a jarring shift into sci-fi territory at my film's close and enhance the euphoric, otherworldly nature of Toby and Maz's ascension. In Dead Alive Girl, Louis had created a single piece of music early on, which I then cut into the film. This time round, we realised that writing the score to fit the edit was a far more natural method, and Louis was able to provide dramatic cues and cater to different scenes far more effectively. I also believe that some of my films suffered from lack of alternative angles, B-roll and solid takes when it came to editing. A big reason for this was my attempt at possibly trying to do too much on a small budget, which also compromised some of Kian's hard work as DOP. I could have avoided this by choosing to build a set, or by maybe simplifying my idea, and this is a problem I've encountered in the past and did not necessarily learn from. I hope that you enjoyed the film and that it gave you something interesting to look at, as well as hopefully to think about in terms of its themes.
Here we have a cinematographer in its natural habitat. The cinematographer mates with the gaffer. They exchange resources. There's often a quarrel.
Is that enough length for you? I made a sex reference.